Hello and welcome everyone. We're here at the Konami studio here in beautiful California. Back at it again to talk about the next core booster that you can look forward to. I'm Billy Brake. Joining me is Jerome McHale, and I am so excited about the first core booster of 2025. You had a great year in 2024, and I can't wait to see what we're going to be doing this next upcoming year. But we're starting things off big with the newest set. That's right, Supreme Darkness. That's going to be available at your official tournament stores January 22nd, available everywhere January 24th. There will be a premiere event the week before that. You're not going to want to miss your opportunity to get your hand on some of these awesome cards. So what is Supreme Darkness? What can you look forward to in the set? Well, if you look at the set cover, you'll know that there's going to be some new evil hero monsters, a brand new trap monster theme, tons of returning themes like Gladiator Beast, Teny, which I'm really excited about, Speedroids, Cristrons, and even more. Supreme Darkness is quite an exciting set, and today we're going to talk about it.
Let's go ahead and start things off the same way we did last time, with the cover monster for the set, Elemental Hero Neos Lord. Now, Elemental Hero Neos Lord, if you take a look at it, it's not only the cover monster of the set, it's also the monster that's going to be featured on the Premier Event game map that you could win at a Supreme Darkness Premier Event.
Great looking game map.
It's a great looking game. It's a great looking card. If you take a close look at the art, you can kind of see what's going on here with the new Evil Hero cards in this set. So you see Neos there. He's got the Supreme King armor on, or armor akin to the Supreme King's armor. And that's basically what this card is. So if you take a look at it, it's a fusion monster for which you need to fuse Elemental Hero Neos, or any fusion monster that mentions it, plus one effect monster on the field. And since it's an evil hero, it has to be special summoned with the effect of Dark Fusion. Though if you have the Supreme King's Castle, you can summon it with other effects, like the other evil heroes as well. It's a very difficult card to destroy. It can't be destroyed by battle or card effects, and if it's special summoned, or a monster is sent to your opponent's graveyard while it's on the field, you can target any face-up monster your opponent controls and just take control of it permanently. You don't have to give it back, you just get that monster. Now, you can only do that once per turn, but a lot of times if you just get to steal a monster permanently, you're probably going to win in that case anyways.
Definitely.
So it's an incredibly strong card, and if you want to see how it's made, take a look at the new Fusion type spell. It doesn't really, fusion summon the way that you think you would. It's a little similar to Miracle Contact. So take a look at Dark Contact. You can kind of see the process of how Neos Lord is being fused here. Neos is there, he's absorbing the power of darkness, and that's going to eventually turn him into Neos Lord. So Dark Contact has two effects, and you can use each of them once per turn. The first one is the Fusion Summon effect. You fusion summon a monster from your extra deck that has to be summoned with Dark Fusion by shuffling its materials from your field, graveyard, or banishment back to the deck. That's similar to Miracle Contact. So it's a Dark Fusion. It's treated as a fusion summon with Dark Fusion that uses the Miracle Contact type summoning for the materials. Put them together, you get Dark Contact. Easy.
Makes a lot of sense.
And then the second effect lets you get that Supreme King's Castle out of your deck or Dark Fusion and add it to your hand. And you can use both of those in the same turn. So if you draw, you'll probably play 3 of these. If you draw 2 of them, that's fine. It's very, very unlikely you're going to draw all 3 and end up with a dead card in hand.
Supreme Darkness also has more evil hero monsters, some main deck monsters, some new evil hero versions of some of your favorite elemental heroes. I know when I first saw these, I was quite excited. That's right, there's new evil hero monsters for Bubble Man and Prisma. First up, we have evil hero Toxic Bubble. That's right, Bubble Man is now evil, and you can special summon it from your hand, just because. But for the rest of the turn, you'll only be able to special summon hero monsters. And if it's special summoned while you control a fusion monster that was special summoned with Dark Fusion, you can draw 2 cards. I hear drawing cards in Yu-Gi-Oh! Is something a lot of players like to do.
It is. Bubble Man's always been looking for an easier way to do that, and it appears that he's just turned to the dark side.
It's a little bit easier if you can have cards on your field when you're drawing those 2 cards, as opposed to being like
completely
the heart of the
empty.
cards, last card to draw as well. And then moving on, we also have a really cool card, Evil Hero Dead in Prison. So instead of Prisma, we have a prison here. But it's particularly notable because it can send any hero monster from your deck to the graveyard as a cost to activate its effect. It doesn't lock you into anything either like Evil Hero Toxic Bubble does. So you could drop Destiny Hero Malicious in your graveyard and then just go to town with it. Really cool card. Both of these new Evil Hero main deck monsters are something you're going to want to keep an eye out for. There's also another fusion of Evil Hero Inferno Wing Backfire. That's right, and this will let you add a Dark Fusion or a card that mentions it from your deck or graveyard to your hand. So that's a lot of options you're going to be able to add off of this. Kind of reminds me of like a Tier Limits Kicked Hollows, to where it's a mid-fusion, to where you're able to access the cards you're going to need to continue on with your strategy.
You know, and there's even more Evil Hero-based cards in the set than that. That's just what, you know, we can tell you about right now. So we got these cool new fusions, right? We got another new Neos fusion. We've got Inferno Wing that has kind of the same sort of basic materials as the original Inferno Wing. You could have Avian or Burstinatrix in a hero instead of just Avian and Burstinatrix. It's always interesting seeing, you know, how the different combinations of heroes have worked out throughout the year and how many of them there really are. There's a lot of hero fusions. There's a lot of them.
There was a lot when they first came out, and they've just grown since then.
And when we were getting ready for this, you know, I went through every single one of those fusions and took a look at what are these actually made by. So right now we're going to play a little game.
I like
and
games.
Unfortunately for you,
No.
the viewer comments that I received last time were that the last game was too easy on you.
It was pretty easy.
So it's going to be a little
I just
tougher
throw one of
this
the
time.
questions to make it seem like it's a little more difficult last time, but this time no throwing.
All right.
I'm going to try my hardest.
I'm glad, because you're going to need to.
Okay.
We're going to play the Fusion Material game Hero Edition.
Okay.
So I'm going to show
Terrified.
you 10 elemental hero monsters that are used as the basic components of some of the many, many, many elemental hero fusions out here.
Okay.
And I'm going to give you the number of times a particular monster appears in the fusion recipe
Oh.
of hero fusion monsters, and I need you to tell me which monster I'm talking about.
Okay.
So do you want to start with the highest one or the lowest one first?
Let's start with the highest. I think that might be the easiest.
The highest. Okay.
Yes, we'll
So
go
you're
highest.
taking a look at all of your options on their screen right there. You can play along at home as well. I
luck.
wouldn't bother trying to cheat with this. The only way to do it is to actually do the research, which I can tell you takes a while. So just play along as best you can. All right, so the highest number of times a hero monster appears in the recipe of a hero fusion monster is 17. Which of these monsters appears 17 times, including the new cards from Supreme Darkness?
Okay, well, this one I think I have to, if I don't get this one right, I'm in
it
trouble.
doesn't bode well if you don't get this one right. This one's a gimme.
Yeah, I'm going to go with the monster that is in the brand new armor on the cover of Supreme Darkness with his brand new Evil Hero version. And I'm going to go with Elemental Hero Neos, because he also has those Neospatian fusions as well. They definitely has to be Elemental Hero Neos. And if it's not, yeah, I'm just wrong. I'm definitely, I think I'll at least get one right. So, yeah, Elemental Hero Neos at 17.
Well, we're off to a good start. Elemental Hero Neos is correct. It appears 17 times, with the newest one being, of course, Neos Lord. Do you want to keep going down the list, or you want to work from the bottom a little bit? Either way is fine.
We can go back to, let's go to the bottom.
Go to the bottom. All right, the elemental hero that has appeared the fewest times out of this has appeared only once in the fusion recipe of an elemental hero monster.
Well, I mean, for the low end on here, I mean, I know Elemental Hero Blade Edge and Necro Shade would be on my lower end, but I'm going to go with the one fusion on here, because I don't know if the fusions require that specific name for Elemental Hero Flame Wingman. I know there's at least one Shining Flame Wingman, but I'm going to go with the only fusion on this and go with Elemental Hero Flame Wingman.
It is Elemental Hero Flame Wingman. You are correct that
I was nervous on that one.
the Shining Neos from Power of the Elements needs a Wingman fusion monster. It is not specifically Elemental Hero Flame Wingman. And you might have thought that Elemental Hero Shining Phoenix Enforcer would require it, but it doesn't. It requires Phoenix Enforcer.
Oh,
It's the other thing that you can make with Avian and Burstinatrix.
All right.
So that plus Sparkman, just like Flame Wingman plus Sparkman makes Shining Flame Wingman.
Sounds like you didn't need to do too much research. You got it all up here already.
Oh, no, I had to do a lot of research on it.
Okay.
I had to do a lot of research on it. All right, you want to go high or low?
Let's stick with low up, because I have like a list of 4 that I have at the end there.
All
I
right,
think.
so we'll stick with low. 2 of these monsters have appeared on fusion materials twice.
Okay, well, I'm going with the high-level monsters on this one. I don't know. They might even be on a fusion together. I'm not 100% certain, but they are from one of the original Elemental Heroes. I'm going with Elemental Hero Blade Edge and Elemental Hero Necro Shade for the 2s.
Those are correct. They both appear only twice. They do not appear together, though.
Okay, okay.
They don't appear together. So we got Wild Wingman, Necroid Shaman, those sorts of things.
Necroid Shaman is the one I thought might be both of them.
The, what's called Plasma Vice, I believe, is the other Necro Shade.
Oh,
I think it's Sparkman and Necro Shade.
Okay. Plasma Vice.
But you can check our work on the card database.
Please
if you
do.
wanna find which ones those are. All right, so heading low seems pretty good. Let's move up one more to which elemental hero has been the materials for 4 different fusion monsters.
For this one, I'm a little nervous on. I couldn't decide. Yeah, it's tough between Bubbleman and Wildheart. Well, I feel like Wildheart's more mainstream. I did have him at 4, but I think Bubbleman could be at 4. But yeah, I got to go Wildheart. Elemental hero Wildheart at 4.
Going for Wildheart at number 4. It's a good thing you didn't change it, because 4 is correct. It is Wildheart.
Yes, yes, yes.
It is Wildheart. So doing well so far, halfway home.
Okay.
You've gotten all of them thus far.
I'm getting into the nervous section now.
Yes.
Okay.
So the next set of them, the other 5, are actually in sequential order. They're 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. So you can work them.
Awesome.
Yeah, so it's 1, 2, 2, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 17 among these. There's no 3. That bothered me. That there wasn't one that appeared only twice, so maybe we'll have to give Necro Shade another.
Just to make it line up.
Just to make it line up. All right, so yeah, let's keep going up. Let's go 5 next. You have as your 5.
Yep, I'm going to go with the only one that's left that's an effect monster and not one of the original Elemental Hero normal monsters, so I'm going Elemental Hero Bubbleman.
Bubbleman is correct. Appears on 5 different monsters, including Electrum.
Yep.
It was Fire, Wind, Water, Earth.
Okay, yep, I knew Electrum. That used to be a deck that people played back there with Fusion Gate and Chain Material.
Yes.
And I knew that one of the cool things about it is that they would include all of those normal monsters into the deck as well, so good to know. Yeah, and then Bubbleman would, of course, be a part of that as well. I remember my friends playing with like the promo Mattel version ones of those as well. They were pretty hard to get your hands on, and they were happy about having those in their deck. So now I'm remembering. Now it's all coming back to me.
All right, so now we just have the normal monsters left, and there are 4 of them. So you've got Avian, you've got Sparkman, you've got Burstinatrix, you've got Clayman, and you've got to get these into 6, 7, 8, and 9. So let's start with 6.
6? Oh, I think I have this one wrong, maybe, because Clayman is so important, and it is on, Electromite. Yeah, I'm going at 6, I'm going Clayman.
6 is Clayman. 6 is Clayman. 6 is Clayman.
Yes,
you are correct.
yes.
It is 6. All right.
Process elimination.
So Sparkman, Burstinatrix, Avian, 7, 8, and 9.
See, I feel like this is a toss-up. I'm going to have Burstinatrix at the top end, so I'm going Sparkman at 7, even though it could be Avian.
Sparkman at 7. Okay.
And then, do you want to just do all 3?
Yeah, let's do all 3
Yeah, okay,
at
so
once.
Sparkman at 7, Avian at 8, and then Burstinatrix at 9. And I'm hoping, just because Burstinatrix might be on more evil hero ones, I'm not certain
It's
though.
very close.
Oh no!
It's very close. Almost.
I thought I was going to get it. Once I started getting all the early ones, I was like, okay.
It's very close. So this one, I was shocked by this as well. I thought that Sparkman was actually going to be the highest.
Okay.
When I started looking at it of those 3, but it wasn't. It was the lowest, number 7. So Sparkman is correct. It's on 7.
No, I got down to the last 2.
Burstinatrix and Avian that you have flipped. Burstinatrix is 8. Avian was 9. And it kind of makes sense in a way, because Avian is like the first hero, right?
Yeah.
When you go back and watch the beginning of GX, it's like Avian first, and he does some stuff. And he's actually got a lot of other cards that work with him as well, like Feather Shot, and there's a trap card as well that works with Avian that just kind of escapes my mind what the name of it is.
All from the early Duelist pack?
Yeah, for one of the earliest Duelist packs. A lot of the early ones do, like Burst Return, that's
Clay Charge.
As well. Clay Charge, exactly. The Bubbleman equip, there's also the Spark Blaster. They all kind of have their own signature equips or other cards that went with them as well. So that's our fusion material game. That went actually very well.
I'm impressed. I'm happy, yeah.
I see you were struggling on it this morning, though.
Yeah, I kept switching a couple of them back and forth. I had Flame Wingman all over the place at one point, but I was like, you know what? I'm going to put the fusion. I just did a process elimination. The fusion maybe has the least amount, and then, yeah, it comes down to Avian and Burstinatrix there at the end.
All right, so another good game from you. Very well done. I hope everybody else in chat did well on this one, too. And now we're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we're going to get to one of the newest themes introduced in Supreme Darkness. Don't go away.
Magician Girl!
Welcome back to the Supreme Darkness introduction. I'm Jerome McHale. I'm here with Billy, and we are talking you through some of the new themes and returning themes in Supreme Darkness, the first core booster set of 2025. So let's take a look at the big new theme from the set, the Argostars. Now, it's been a pretty good year for the trap monsters. They got the Silhat Rabbit in the Infinite Forbidden, brought Azaroon back on to the scene. We're going to have the new kind of Odeon-themed cards in Maze of the Master, coming a little bit after Supreme Darkness.
Really excited about those cards.
But in between now and then, we've got an entire new theme based on trap monsters, and turning them into monsters, and turning them from monsters back into traps in the back row. And it's called Argostars.
Yeah, I think that's the part that intrigues me the most about this theme is we've seen plenty of trap monsters, continuous traps that turn into monsters, but the ability to go back into the spell and trap zone and then become monsters again back and forth, that's something unique.
And that's kind of the way it works, is that they have an effect while they are a trap, and there's a condition that you meet to move them forward into the monster zone. Now, the one regular monster, like actual physical monster card for the theme, is Argostars' Glorious Adra, who you might have seen already on our social channels because she can be the card you can win at the premiere events as well. So Glorious Adra is a level 4 warrior type monster, very easy to get out of your deck. You got reinforced in the army, all sorts of good stuff. Now, during your opponent's turn, if you have a continuous trap on the field, which all the trap monsters here are continuous traps, you can banish Adra from your hand to zero out the attack points of one of your opponent's monsters. So you make sure that the captain of your team lets you win any individual skirmish. Next effect is that if you normal summon Adra, you can use her kind of like our good friend Rescue Rabbit up there. So your opponent can't activate cards or effects in response to the activation of your continuous trap cards or their effects, and then you can banish her to place up to 2 Argostars continuous traps with different names from your hand or deck face up in your spell and trap zone right away.
So since they're face up, that means you can use their effects right off the bat. You don't have to wait a turn.
You don't have to set them, you don't have to wait. So it's kind of a more proactive trap monster strategy than a lot of the things you've seen in the past, because, say Eldritch, for instance, you have to set all the cards, and there's a turn delay where you have to get Eldritch onto the field, and then you can summon Conquistador, that sort of thing. This lets you go, right off the bat, summon Adra, banish Adra, here's 2 traps, let's go. All right, so let's take a look at the trap monsters that you're going to be fielding with Glorious Adra, starting with Argostars Lightning Todo. So this is kind of the search card for the theme, as well as one of the strongest attackers in it, as well as a monster that can boost the attack of your other monsters. It's a really powerful supporting card and attacking card. So while it's in the spell and trap zone as its trap effect, your warrior monsters will gain 500 attack and defense, which, a lot of your monsters already have plenty of attack and defense. Adra's 1,800 each, should go up to 2,300. It's pretty good. But you can also discard a card to special summon Lightning Todo as a monster instead. And when you do, you can then add an Argostars card from your deck to your hand. So any Argostars card.
So you get to immediately replace that card that you're discarding, which is nice.
Exactly. And if you need something in the graveyard, this is a great way to get it there. And then you also have the ability, as a quick effect, to move Lightning Todo back into the spell and trap card zone as well. So if your opponent plays, something to destroy all of your monsters, you can just move it right back, and it's not going to hit.
So that's pretty cool. So that means you're going to always have a card you can summon not only during your turn, but during your opponent's turn as well to continuously be searching these cards for this theme.
Exactly. And as a monster, Lightning Tydo has 2,000 attack and defense points, light level 4 warrior as well. So pretty strong in the first place there. Lightning Tydo is, you're almost always going to grab it with Adra at the start of the duel because it helps you get everything going. And as you keep moving it back and forth, you'll have the chance to just sculpt your hand to get all the cards you need out of your deck from the theme. But moving on to the second trap monsters, we have Argostars, Swift Capon. So while this card is face up in the spell and trap zone, your warriors can't be destroyed by battle. So if you have a bunch of monsters out in defense position, you can just flip Swift Capon, and none of them can be destroyed in battle. You're pretty much guaranteed to get another turn if your opponent can't get through any of your monsters. Now, to change this card into a monster, all you got to do is be like, hey, you know what? I'm going to change this into a monster.
Activate effect.
Yep, it's once per turn if continuous trap is in a monster zone. So if you have any of the other ones up there, you can join them. So a lot of themes have things like if you control themed monster, special summon this card from your hand. And it's the same thing with Swift Capon here. As long as you have one of the others, she can follow along. As an effect monster, Capon's got 1,800 attack and defense. And when you summon her, if you have a banished Argostars monster, which you probably do, because you're banishing Adra for either for effects, you'll gain a little life points back, 500 to be precise. And then just like the others, she can jump back into the spell and trap zone whenever you need to. So you lead the charge with Tydo, and then you follow up with Capon. And then they can all retreat if need be.
Makes a lot of sense. I'm liking what I'm seeing.
And then the final one of the continuous trap monsters is Argostars, Slayer Edio. Now, while this one is a trap card, your warrior monsters can't be destroyed by card effects. So the combination of Edio with Capon makes it so you're actually just making a wall in front. So all of your warrior monsters can't be destroyed by card effects. Now, this one's a little tricky for special summoning as a monster. You have to use the effect to summon in response to your opponent activating a card or effect. And this monster is smaller than the others as well, only 800 attack and defense points. But if you have a banished Argostars monster, when you do summon her, you can return any card on the field to the hand.
Oh yeah, that's incredible. I mean, that's what I was looking for in these cards, is to have some form of interaction, some sort of disruption, and Slayer Edio really provides that here.
And this is not a targeting effect as well. This is part of the resolution of the effect that summons Edio as a monster. So you special summon, then you can return a card on the field to the hand. And it's any card as well, not just your opponent, so you can pick up something from your field if you need to.
That's notoriously been pretty strong in Yu-Gi-Oh! If you can find a way to capitalize
A
it.
few times, if there's a card you need to activate repeatedly. And then she also has the effect as a quick effect to just move back to the spell and trap zone whenever you need to.
Yeah, like I said before, that's one of my favorite things that appeals to me about this theme is that they can just dodge any sort of removal by jumping back into that spell and trap zone.
Historically, it kind of reminds you of the old Wind-Up Rabbit deck with Winged Rhinos.
Yep.
It's very similar. In fact, there's even trap cards. When you use them, the monsters come out. It's kind of a similar concept to that deck as well.
And they're all level 4s, which means you have some great extra deck opportunities on top of that.
Yeah, so one thing you might want to think about is because these are trap cards, if you use 2 of them to make Time Thief Redoer,
I already knew it was
if you
coming.
make Time Thief Redoer, for instance, you can get that effect to put a card back into your opponent's deck.
Love Redoer.
Now, it's a sporting team, essentially. It's a very sports theme. So, of course, the Argostars have their own home stadium. And that is the last card that we're going to take a look at here, the field spell, Argostars, Home Stadium. So once per turn with this, you can pay 1,000 life points to get an Argostars card from your graveyard or banishment back to your hand. So once you have Adra, you're going to banish her for 1 effect, place your cards on the field, and then you can use the field spell to pick her back up.
Really, really solid.
You'll want to get her banished, you want to make sure that she's banished when you need to be summoning out Tydo, for instance, so you can get that additional effect added on. So just keep that in mind. You don't want to always just immediately grab her right back. In a way, it's kind of similar to the mutant theme, where you might want to keep one of the cards banished so they can come back with another effect. Then, each time a continuous trap in the spell and trap zone is special summoned to your field, you inflict 500 damage to your opponent.
So you can start wearing down your opponent's life points and just by summoning your own monsters in the team. Wow.
Yeah, you could kind of think of it like scoring points, for instance.
Ah,
like
okay.
you score a point every time you summon one of your monsters from the spell and trap zone.
I like that.
But in this case, it's 500 damage.
Great for me, not so great for you.
Exactly. And then finally, once per chain, if a continuous trap has activated its effect in your monster zone while you have a banished Argostars monster, then you can target a face-up card your opponent controls and negate its effects until the end of this turn.
Huge.
So you can switch off, annoying continuous effects, for instance, just by summoning your monsters and using their effects. All right, so that about wraps it up for the Argostars. Now we're going to move on from modern sports that take place in a stadium to ancient sports that take place in a coliseum. Supreme Darkness also has 5 new cards for Gladiator Beast decks. And to tell you all about them, we figured we would get the biggest Gladiator Beast fan that we know to tell you all about it.
That's right. I do remember one of our friends, you've probably seen him on part of our coverage team too, out of the YCS. That's right, Mike Kohanam won a big tournament back in the day with Gladiator Beast, and now I know he's really excited about these new cards.
Michael, do we have you there?
Yeah, I'm right here, and I am so excited for the Gladiator Beasts.
All right, well then the floor is yours, Counselor.
Awesome. Billy and Jerome, first of all, I promise that I will stop asking for Gladiator Beast support at every event for a
Thank you, we appreciate it.
Thanks to these 5 incredible cards that we are about to get. And I will start with my favorite of the 5, talking about Gladiator Beast Gistel. So Gistel has an incredible effect.
So this is the level 3 one. Level 3
This
beast.
is the level 3 Gladiator Beast. As you may remember from back in the day, Gladiator Beasts usually have an effect that, most of them have an effect that activates when it's special summoned by the effect of another Gladiator Beast monster, or any Gladiator Beast monster. But Gistel is special because it can special summon itself and trigger its own effect. So at its core, when it's special summoned by a Gladiator Beast's monster's effect, you get to add any Gladiator spell or trap. It's not even just Gladiator Beast from your deck to your hand. This would have been an awesome card back in the day, and it's even more incredible now that we have so many more great Gladiator spells and traps.
And then that you mentioned that, Mike, I remember Gladiator's Proving Ground was always one of the ones that you couldn't really have access to, but there you go, now we can.
Yes, so Gistel can get Gladiator Proving Ground, which was not a Gladiator Beast card. But more importantly, Proving Ground can get Gistel because it's a level 4 or lower Gladiator Beast. So I think that back in the day, a lot of players didn't use Proving Ground because there was always a threat of drawing too many monsters. Well, Gistel solves that problem because you can special summon it from your hand along with another Gladiator Beast monster just by using this effect. And then Gistel will instantly, since it's special summoning those monsters by the effect of a Gladiator Beast, it'll trigger their effects that activate when they're special summoned by the effect of a Gladiator Beast monster. So you can use Gistel to special summon any Gladiator Beast, even assuming you special summon one with no effect, like Andal, it'll instantly set you up for some incredible plays. So take, for example, if you summon Gistel with Andal, you can link them away for Test Panther, use the Panther's effect to get Gladiator Beast Comeback, which is a spell card that special summons a Gladiator Beast from the deck, from the graveyard, as long as it doesn't match a type of a monster you control. Use the comeback, special summon Andal, use Test Panther to send the Andal back to the deck and special summon Adarix. Gistel would have gotten you Gladiator Rejection with its effect, which could let you special summon a level 5 or higher monster from your deck.
Another one that's Gladiator, but not Beast.
Yes, Rejection is not a Gladiator Beast card, so you can get it with Gistel, which makes your opponent unable to target your Gladiator Beast during your turn, and helps you get more Gladiator Beasts on the field. Now, if you were playing Gladiator Beasts many years ago, you may remember the deck being reliant on Gladiator Beast Geyserish destroying cards, and Gladiator Beast Heraklinos negating spell and trap cards. Players typically use Gladiator Beast Bestiary to fusion summon the Geyserish, or rather special summon. It's not technically a fusion summon if you've used the fusion summon. If you played the fusion summon 3 monster mission on Master Duel, you would notice that.
The special summon doesn't quite count, huh?
Yes, it's the bane of me when I play Gladiator Beast on Master Duel.
You sound like this is from first-hand experience, Mike.
Very much so.
Yes. So if you special summon Geyserish by sending a Bestiary and another Gladiator Beast from your field to the extra deck, or summon Heraclinos by sending Laquarian 2 Gladiator Beasts back to the extra deck. They're pretty easy to summon that way. But the Gladiator Beast archetype has changed a lot since way back when that was the core strategy of the deck, and now we have Gladiator Beast Tamer Editor. So the main goal of the deck is often to summon 2 level 5 or higher monsters to your field, fuse them for the Gladiator Beast Tamer Editor, which is a fusion monster that can just slam one of the fusions from your extra deck onto the field. So that way you can summon Gladiator Beast Heraclinos, Gladiator Beast Geyserus, and Gladiator Beast Domitianus, and any other fusion monster Gladiator Beast that you want, without actually playing the fusion materials for those monsters. So Gistel, by summoning more Gladiator Beasts to your field and searching for the cards you need to get more monsters onto the field, makes it really easy to summon Tamer Editor. So I think Gistel is the strongest of the cards, and I think it's a 3-of in any Gladiator Beast deck I build. Next up is a card of comparable power, Flavian, Colosseum of the Gladiator Beasts.
So this is the field spell.
Yes! Finally, an amazing field spell for Gladiator Beasts. This card lets you discard a card to add a Gladiator Beast from your deck to your hand, and surprise, surprise, you can use it to get Gistel. So Gistel is the big card to push your Gladiator Beast plays. Flavian will help to support it. But that's not even all that Flavian does. When an opponent's monster declares an attack, you special summon a Gladiator Beast monster from your deck. It can't be destroyed by battle. And then as an extra effect during the end phase, if a Gladiator Beast monster was special summoned from your deck this turn, you can set a Gladiator trap from your deck. And you can use each of those effects once per turn. So I think the ability to search your deck for a Gladiator Beast, add it to your hand, and then use it that turn is probably the strongest part of this card. Protecting, being able to summon Gladiator Beasts is pretty good also, even though the opponent has to play with it, has to play into it to let you do that. But the third effect, setting a trap from the deck, is also insane, because a lot of Gladiator Beast decks are built to put up monsters with effects that can negate cards, like Heraclinos and Domitianus, which can negate monster effects, Domitianus. The last effect on the Colosseum lets you also set trap cards that will hinder your opponent's plays. You can set Gladiator Beast War Chariot, which you may remember from way back when.
That is the classic looping War Chariot every turn.
Still pretty good, I think.
2007, 2009, I played it in, so it was good then. It works like Divine Wrath as long as you control a Gladiator Beast. You don't have to discard a card, and you can add it to your hand with cards that add Gladiator Beast cards to your hand, so it's not bad. But I think that what might be even better is Gladiator Beast Charge, which is a more recently released normal trap card that works a lot like Ritual Beast Steeds, except it destroys face-up cards instead of monsters. So as for every Gladiator Beast you have on your field, it can destroy an opponent's face-up card. So I think that is also going to be a strong way to set up your play. So if you use Flavian to search for Gistel, use Gistel to ultimately bring out Tamer Editor and summon either Domitianus or Heraclinos to pin down either spells, traps, or monster effects. You'll also have a trap since you special summoned a monster from your deck. So Flavian is an incredible card for Gladiator Beasts.
It sure is.
Yeah, they're all incredible, Jerome.
And the thing that stood out to me about the field spells was the discard. At first, I don't really like discarding cards, but that could be a monster you're going to summon back with Gladiator Beast Darius, or just another Gladiator Beast card you're going to add back with a quest, potentially. So not too much of a cost there for such an awesome effect.
That's right. And now also in the metagame, we have cards like Mosharmi Forwalos and other stuff that you're going to put in your deck that aren't always useful at every time. You combine it with Tri-Brigade, which I think I'll talk about a little more later. And the discard can actually be beneficial because it helps you get the Beast Warrior, and Winged Beast monsters into the graveyard, and also trigger the effects of cards like Kit and Nerval. So it really is not bad. It's obviously a downside of the card, but you can easily mitigate it with the way you construct your deck. Next up is an insane Link monster, Gladiator Beast Darius.
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 A new Link too.
Looks a little like Darius. But yeah, he's a Link 2 that you can summon by using 2 monsters, including 1 Gladiator Beast monster.
Just one.
So it's the same Link material requirement as Test Panther, which was always cool because you can use cards like Change of Heart and Mind Control in the deck to take control of an opponent's monster, and then link it with one of your Gladiator Beasts to make some of your key Link monsters. But this card has a couple of effects. The first one is during your opponent's battle phase, your Gladiator Beast monsters can't be destroyed by battle or card effect. So again, it can protect them, but your opponent may be able to play around that effect. But one of the really powerful effects of this card is the next effect, where if it's Link summoned, you can special summon a level 4 or lower Gladiator Beast monster from your hand or graveyard. If your opponent controls a monster, you can special summon a Gladiator Beast monster from your deck instead. So this instantly gets you a monster to the field, and that monster is special summoned by the effect of a Gladiator Beast monster, which for the Gladiator Beast theme, usually will activate their effects that trigger when they're summoned by the effect of a Gladiator Beast monster. For the rest of the turn, you can't use monsters as Link materials except for Gladiator Beasts. That's a bit of a downside since you can't use other cards in the that work with Gladiator Beasts as Link materials, like Test Panther, but you can easily play around that. What I really like about Gladiator Beast Dareios is its synergy with cards like Rescue Cat. With using Rescue Cat to summon cards to summon Gistel, which I forgot to mention is a beast, level 3 beast, so you can summon it with Rescue Cat, and to summon Tri-Brigade Kit, you can actually then Link summon Dareios, use its effect to special summon Gistel, use Gistel to get Gladiator Rejection, play the Rejection, Link summon Panther, get Comeback, play Comeback, and then use the Panther's effect, continue the line of play. You'll eventually end your field with Test Panther, Tamer Editor, the ability to use Tamer Editor's effect to summon either Heraklinos or Domitianus, and have a kit in your hand. Now, if you use Domitianus plus rejection on the field so that your monsters can't be targeted. If you use Domitianus to special summon Heraklinos, you'll actually have a kit to discard to negate 1 spell or trap, and then Kit's effect will be able to send Nerval to the graveyard to get you another card to discard to get another spell or trap. So this is amazing what you can build with just a single Rescue Cat, thanks to the release of Gistel and Dareios.
It's a far cry from using Rescue Cat to summon 2 Sam Knights, like you used to have to back in the day.
Well, that's one of the best parts. You don't have to play Sam Knight anymore. You still could if you want to, but Sam Knight's main purpose was to be summoned with Rescue Cat, and Gistel being a beast makes it so you don't have to do that. Just watch out, because Gistel being a beast means that if you control Test Panther, which is a beast, you can't use Comeback to bring Gistel back. So that's just something you do need to watch out for, but if you're, creative with your plays, it'll never be an issue. So that's Dareios, another awesome card. The awesome cards just keep coming here. And then the next card that I will talk about is Test Bear. Test Bear is a huge card.
We got a tiger, a panther, and a bear.
Oh my.
Yes. So Test Bear it's cool. It's not a Gladiator Beast card, so you can't search it out with cards that search for Gladiator Beast. You can't search for it even with cards that get Gladiators from the deck. But it has such a high impact effect. I think it might make the cut in some Gladiator Beast decks. If you control a Gladiator Beast monster special summon from the deck or extra deck, you can special summon it from your hand. You can then tribute it and shuffle a Gladiator Beast monster from your hand or face up on field into the deck or extra deck to special summon up to 2 Gladiator Beast monsters from your deck. And if you remember Test Tiger, this works the same way in that those monsters are treated as special summoned by a Gladiator Beast monster's effect. That means you'll get the effects of the 2 monsters you special summon. I mean, at its weakest, you could just get 2 monsters to fuse into Tamer Editor in order to slam Heraklinos or Domitianus onto the field. At its strongest, you're triggering the effects of cards like Gistel that search for any Gladiator card, the effects of Aderix to dump cards to the graveyard so that you can retrieve them or use them for another fusion monster that we'll talk about later. You can draw cards with Sagittari, and the possibilities just keep going because this card can take any two of them, and depending on what's in your hand, you can sort of choose your two based on that. If you have a Gladiator Beast monster in your hand whose effect you want to activate, you can get Augustus from your deck. Special summon it, use Augustus' effect. Special summon the Gladiator Beast from your hand, activate its effect. So this card can really get you out of a jam. It is, even though you can only special summon it if you've already made the plays that allow you to special summon a Gladiator Beast from your deck or extra deck, you can also just normal summon Test Bear and use its effect. So that's an incredible starting play. Just watch out for anything that would negate its effect, because you are going to lose the one Gladiator Beast you return to your deck, even if its effect gets negated. So
it's kind of an in-theme normal summon.
And what?
It's kind of an in-theme normal summon. I mean, they already had Rescue Cat, which is kind of an out-of-theme normal summon, but Test Bear is kind of like a similar role, except kind of more in-theme.
Yes. So I do like that. In the past, I've actually played the Adventure Engine in Gladiator Beasts because they don't rely so heavily on normal summons, because their effects typically activate when special summons, so you're not usually using the effects of normal summon monsters. But now with Test Bear and Rescue Cat, both being strong normal summons, we'll see where the Adventure Engine fits in, if it does. So that is Test Bear, and I saved one of the most impressive looking Gladiator Beasts for last. Gladiator Beast Claudius. This card is insane. I could not believe this card when I first read it. And this is a card that you can kind of evaluate just on its own without, looking at too many other cards in the main deck in context of this card. It's kind of just weird. It's just a powerful card that is a fusion of 5 Gladiator Beast monsters that you can special summon from your extra deck by shuffling those 5 Gladiator Beast monsters from your field and or graveyard into the deck or extra deck. And if it's summoned this way, you can conduct your next battle phase twice. So that is insane. Gladiator Beast decks can do so much with just one battle phase, then sending the Gladiators back to the deck, getting the ones you want to replace them, and then summoning fusion monsters in main phase 2. 2 battle phases let you tag out your weaker monsters in the first battle phase and just defeat your opponent in the second.
Yeah, like there's no way you don't just win with 2 battle phases and all those Gladiator Beasts, right?
I really can't imagine not winning with 2 battle phases. If this
and it's got 3,700 attack, so you're getting, what, 7,400 out of just that?
Yeah, so that's incredible, and that's not even all it does. I am confident that if that is all it did, it would still be used in Gladiator Beast decks. But this card is even better than that, because once per turn, if your opponent activates a monster effect, you get to activate one of 2 effects based on whose turn it is, and both of those effects are amazing. The first one, if they activate it during your turn, you get to special summon a Gladiator Beast monster from your deck. And guess what? Since its name is Gladiator Beast Claudius, you get to activate the effect of that Gladiator Beast, special summoned by the effect of a Gladiator Beast monster. If your opponent is foolish enough to activate a monster effect on your turn, on their turn,
who does that?
Kind of hard to avoid.
Who does that?
Foolishness.
Kind of hard to avoid. You get to special summon a level 11 or lower Gladiator Beast monster from your extra deck, ignoring its summoning conditions.
I believe that's all of them except this guy.
Yes, you just get to slam it onto the field. You're probably going to go for either Heraclinos to negate spells or traps, or Domitianus to negate the activation of a monster effect and choose your opponent's attack targets. But if it's, for some reason during the end of the turn, if you want to summon Tamer Editor instead to use its effect to summon a monster on your turn, you can do that. So this card is amazing, and, even summoning it turn 1, going first, will set up an obstacle for your opponent because it has the potential to summon either Heraclinos or Domitianus, or something if you want. If your opponent activates some monster effects on your turn, you can special summon Gladiator Beasts from your decks. So this card is just incredible. So it's just another of the amazing Gladiator Beast cards that we're going to see in the next set. So I am so excited for these cards. I have been wanting them for a long time, asking for them for a while. I think the key thing that players need to hone in on is how they interact with some of the recently released Gladiator Beast cards that were not released so recently, but are more recent than when they dominated back in, the 2007 to 2009
2008,
when
yeah,
I played
that area.
them. Yeah. So, because the deck has changed a lot since then, Tamer Editor is now a key card to the strategy, and these cards fit in so well with that card. So I am really happy to see this tremendous boost to the Gladiator Beast thing.
And every time we've talked to you over the last, since you found out about these cards, it sounded like you've been in a pretty good mood. So
Yes,
safe to say you're satisfied?
I am. I can't wait to use them.
All right, another happy customer.
One down, millions to go. Yay.
I was thinking of all these, one card that will help the theme be a little bit better. Instead, we got 5 amazing card effects that will completely revolutionize Gladiator Beasts, but not change them so much that you won't play great cards that we had before. So it still hits the nostalgia because you're still going to be summoning Gladiator Beast Geyserus, Gladiator Beast Heraclinos. A little less nostalgic, but for me, Gladiator Beast Domitianus and Tamer Editor. And that's awesome. The boss monsters are still going to be there. And they still have amazing synergy with the Tri-Brigade monsters as well. I think one of the strongest cards, actually, that you can possibly summon with the Tri-Brigade monsters effects is Gladiator Beast Dragosees, which is a Link 2, which you can summon with them just by banishing 2 of the Gladiator Beasts, 2 Beast Warrior Wing Beasts, not Gladiator Beasts, from your graveyard. And it has 2,000 attack points, but you can return to the extra deck to summon any 2 Gladiator Beasts with different names. So that allows you to use both of their effects, set up a Tamer Editor, and kind of snowball into plays. And I think that the new fusion monster, Gladiator Beast Claudius, is going to make players see a lot of the Gladiator Beasts in a completely different way, because now there's so much value to putting Gladiator Beasts into the graveyard to bring you closer to summoning that monster. So I think other cards that have those effects that dump the monsters to the graveyard can now be seen in a more positive light as fueling the strategy rather than costing you a card that will, potentially diminish the cards you can discard with Heraclinos or anything else you may want to use those cards for. So that is awesome, and especially Gistil, which will get you a card every time it's special summoned by a Gladiator Beast effect. These new cards will help you keep cards in your hands. So I see them making Heraclinos stronger as well. So if you're a fan of original Gladiator Beasts and their boss monster, Gladiator Beast Heraclinos, don't worry. I think he's still going to be around. And even though you may not summon him in every game, there are going to be games where there are still going to be matchups where he can just completely shut down an opponent. We've seen a little bit of resurgence in Sky Striker. Summon Heraclinos to get Sky Striker.
Yeah, or any of the Malice decks that play the Sky Striker cards in it as well to cut off some of their starters.
A lot of spells in that deck.
Yeah, so these new cards just make the old boss monsters better. So it's really exciting to see.
And they're closer than you think. Supreme Darkness comes out at the end of January, on January 24th. And a weekend before that, you can play in the premiere event as well to get your hands on them early. Thank you so much, Michael, for calling in to our show today. We really appreciate it, and we're really happy that you are enjoying all the new Gladiator Beasts. We hope you get to your premiere event and pull all of them.
Thank you, Jerome. I can't wait to play them. Supreme Darkness can't come soon enough.
All right, that is Michael Kohanam, Gladiator Beast's Strongest Soldier. And now we are going to take a break before we get to our final segment, so don't go away.
それがしはユーディアス・ベルギャー。ラッシュデュエルを学ぶため宇宙からはるばるやってきたぞ。
これで準備は整ったよ。
ぼーっとしてると見逃すぜ。ユウヒとユアムも気合十分だな。では行こうではないか。ゴーラッシュ。おお、来るか。ならばそれがしのターン、ベルギャードロー。2体のモンスターを召喚。そしていでよトランザムライナック。
ここから畳みかけるよ。
いっけー。トランザムライナックで攻撃。ウォートゥー戦マニアック優待。これがデュエルリンクス。
俺はこのカードにかける。
ヒーローの力見せてやるぜ。
俺たちの
戦いの中で
見せてもらうぞ。貴様の戦い。
俺は最後までデュエルを諦めねえ。相手と心を通わせる。勝ちたいなら勇気を持って俺にはもう繋がっている勝利へのサーキット。なんと胸躍る世界。
僕は絶対に負けない。全力で行くよ。
それがしもここで新たなベルギャードを切り開く。
頼んだぞ
ユーディアス。888万人の同胞よ。我らはついにデュエルリンクスの真実にたどり着いた。飛来せよギャラクティカ・オブレリオン。
Hello and welcome back, everyone. We're here on the live stream to talk about that first core booster set of the year of 2025, and it is Supreme Darkness. And just like we returned here from our short break, we have some awesome themes that have cards returning to bring these older strategies or use some recent strategies, some new life, and some new spirit. That's right, we have brand new Teny spirit monsters in Supreme Darkness that you're going to want to check out. First up, we have Teny Spirit Shiruya. If you control a worm monster or a face-up effect monster, you can special summon it from your hand. So, unlike the other Tenys, you can't special summon it to an empty field, but you will be able to summon it to any Sword Soul field since you're bound to control a worm. Its effect to special summon a Teny Link monster straight from your extra deck is extremely powerful, and you're not going to want to overlook that.
And it's a tuner, so you can trigger it really easily.
Very easily. Really excited about Teny Spirit Shura. And as you mentioned, it is a tuner, so we're going to need a Teny Spirit Synchro to go along with that. And we have Teny Spirit Mula Adhara. Maybe you recognize that Hara name from one of the actual Teny monsters, now here in Synchro form. Really cool to see. One of the coolest artworks of the set. It's actually going to be the artwork featured on the regional game mat this upcoming season for the Supreme Darkness season. We do have the mat right here if you want to check out. Looks beautiful, looks awesome. Can't wait to get my hands on that. Now, Mula Adhara can add any field spell to your hand, and you're going to want to pair it with the brand new field spell, Teny Infinity. That's right, Teny Infinity can add a Vessel the Dragon Cycle or a Heavenly Dragon Circle from your deck to your hand. Two of the strongest cards that can be utilized alongside the Teny strategy, so you're not going to want to miss your chance to get these brand new Teny cards. And I know there's a lot of Sword Soul fans out there like I am, so make sure you check out Supreme Darkness and get your hands on some of these Teny cards.
Now, I'm a big fan of the Metalmorph, the Max Metalmorph cards that we put out in Rage of the Abyss, in just the last core booster set. It kind of relives a really cool duel from the original series, and we're continuing to make more metalized versions of the monsters that Joey and Bandikeith use there, including Flame Swordsman. Take a look here at Metal Flame Swordsman. Metal Flame Swordsman is, another one of those Max Metalmorph cards, so you have to summon it with Max Metalmorph. This time you have to tribute a level 5 or higher warrior to do it. But without even getting this card on the field, it's hugely beneficial to you if you want to play these cards maybe as like a side engine in a deck that you're playing, because you can reveal it from your hand to add any card that mentions Max Metalmorph from your deck to your hand. So it's not just Max Metalmorph like the other cards did that would just pull that out of your deck. You can get any card that mentions it, which means this can get Incoming Machine, for instance. So you add your card that mentions Max Metalmorph from your deck to your hand, put this back into the deck. Now, if you do get Metal Flame Swordsman on the field, you're going to put your opponent on a clock really fast, because every time your opponent activates a card or effect, Metal Flame Swordsman will grow stronger by 300 attack points, and then inflict 500 damage to your opponent when that card resolves. So it kind of reminds you of the Red Eyes Flare Metal Dragon Xyz monster in that way.
Yeah, if you play with fire, you're going to get burned.
Speaking of burned, we've also got the Flame Coating Metalmorph, a new Metalmorph trap card for the theme. This lets you tribute one face-up monster that mentions Max Metalmorph to special summon any monster that can't be normal enough summoned or set, and mentions Max Metalmorph from your deck, ignoring its summoning conditions. So you can turn, for example, your Metal Illusionist, it mentions Max Metalmorph. Let's say your opponent negates its effect, so you can't switch it to whatever the attribute is you need. Well, you can go ahead and use Flame Coating Metalmorph to trade that out for any of the big monsters. It's also useful for if you want to swap your monsters. So let's say you go ahead and you summon, your Red Eyes first, or your Metal Zoa first. But on your turn, you need to switch that for something else. Well, Flame Coating Metalmorph can do that for you as well. All those big monsters mention Max Metalmorph, and a Flame Coating Metalmorph lets you trade them out for each other. In addition, because it equips itself onto the new monster you've summoned, it has an effect for that as well. So if the equipped monster be destroyed by battle or card effect, you can just send Flame Coating Metalmorph to the graveyard instead.
Now, it does sound like things are heating up with those new Metalmorph cards here in Supreme Darkness, but now we're going to go to the opposite side of the spectrum here and jump into the ocean, because just we saw in Rage of the Abyss, there are plenty of new Atlantean and Mermail cards, and we're going to keep that going here into Supreme Darkness with the brand new Poseidra, the Storming Atlantean. Now, it's a great card for going second. I've always loved the Mermail and Atlantean strategy, so I'm really excited about this one. Right now, we've seen it do well at many of our bigger tournaments. We've made top 8 at YCS Bologna not too long ago, and so they're going to be excited to get their hands on some new cards that will help with going second. Its special summoning effect can trigger an Atlantean effect upon summoning, and it can send an Atlantean or Mermail from your deck to the graveyard to activate its effect as a cost to return a card on your opponent's side of the field to their hand. So similar to like Neptibus, having to pay a cost in order to activate that effect means you're going to be able to trigger that monster you send to the graveyard's effect no matter what, for the most part. So all those Mermail / Atlantean players want to get their hands on Poseidra, the Storming Atlantean.
And then wrapping up our look at returning themes for the set, we're going to head back to the Goblin Bikers. Right now is probably the best time to be a big Gabonga, because the Ryziel deck is full of Xyz monsters for your Goblin Bikers to just detach and use to special summon themselves. And there's a brand new Xyz monster in Supreme Darkness called Goblin Bikers Gone Bonkers, a new rank 6 monster that you can make with 2 or more level 6 monsters. But keep in mind, there's also that one Goblin Biker trap card that you can just pull out of your deck easily, which lets you swap them out for each other. So Goblin Bikers Gone Bonkers has multiple very powerful removal effects. You can target face-up monsters your opponent controls up to the number of goblin monsters you control. Detach just one material from a monster you control, just one. And if you do, attach all of the targeted monsters to this card as material. But then, during your opponent's turn, as a quick effect, you can target cards your opponent controls up to the number of goblin Xyz monsters you control. Detach 3 materials from amongst all of the monsters you control. And if you do, send the targeted cards to the graveyard. Now you can do both of those once per turn. It's 2,500 attack, 2,000 defense. It's another great rank 6 to go alongside Goblin's Crazy Beast. And like I said, if there's a time to build a Goblin Biker deck, right now would be a great time to try it.
It does in fact sound like the Goblin Bikers have gone bonkers. It's an incredible rank 6. Yeah, really.
Bellstar has too. You can see her over there in the corner.
Yeah, I love that she's on the artwork and all the lore that kind of intertwines these themes together. But yeah, I'm also excited about Goblin Bikers Gone Bonkers. That attaching monsters as a material removal kind of effect, very strong. Definitely want to keep an eye out on that. But moving on through Supreme Darkness, there's so much for everyone. We also just have powerful free agent cards. That's right, these are kind of cards that you can use in any strategy, not just specific to certain themes. So first up, we're going to talk about the highly anticipated Abao Aku, the Lightless Shadow. Now, she's a beautiful card, not quite generic, but as long as you play any Fiend Link monsters in your extra deck, Fiendsmith, Nightmares, you know, there's plenty of them out there, you can Link Climb into this powerful Link 4. All three of its effects are really strong. The first, Disruption during your opponent's turn, or Field Clearing during your own. The second effect lets Abao dodge Destruction, but also revive a light or a dark monster, any light or dark monster. And the final effect lets you sculpt the perfect hand to finish a duel. And, you know, she will be there because her effect will bring her back, so you'll be able to have her at the start and fix your hand any way you see fit. Really excited about Abao Aku, the Lightless Shadow.
Next up, let's take a look at Liberator Ato. Liberator Ato is kind of a weird one, but he's got some big numbers on there. So Liberator Ato is a reptile monster with 4,000 attack points and no defense points. And its special summoning condition is kind of strange, but once you kind of understand it, you'll understand what the purpose of this card is. It's something that happens all the time. If your opponent has any monster on their field or in their graveyard that activates in the hand or monster zone in response to something, so in response to a card or effect activation, that would be, for instance, Ash Blossom, which you see almost everywhere. It would not mean Effect Veiler, because you can use that at any time, not just in response to something. So if such a card exists, you can pay half of your life points to summon Liberator Ato from your hand or graveyard. Once you do, it can't be used as Fusion, Synchro, Xyz, Link material, which, you know, it stops you from using it, but it also stops you from being eaten by super polymerization, for instance. And during your turn only, it is unaffected by all the monster effects activated on your opponent's field. So this is a card that can actually just keep on coming back. As soon as your opponent has one of those monsters, you can just keep bringing it back, because it can be summoned from your hand or graveyard in that way. And the basic idea of this monster is that it can just run over whatever, you know, horrible thing your opponent has put out there to negate your stuff. Varudris, for instance, is a great card to run over with Liberator Ato.
Yeah, it's certainly a cool one. The artwork is fantastic, and a cool card is the best way I can describe that. It's so awesome. And moving on to the next one, you might be familiar with this one. I guess it is a themed card, but it is Mulcharmy Meows. That's right, it's going to be meowing. It's a cat this time. It is a beast this time around. And it lets you draw cards, just similar to the other Mulcharmies, but only when the monsters are special summoned from the Banished or the Graveyard. So you Lightsworn players, Malice players, going to want to watch out for Mulcharmy Meows. It's the third Mulcharmy to be released.
And finally, for free agents, this one I think is going to fly under a lot of players' radars, but give me a minute or two to geek out about Double Wild. I love Double Wild. This card is really cool. So if you take a look at it, it kind of gives you a suggestion of what you're supposed to do with it. You target a level 5 or lower monster you control, and then add a level 10 monster from your deck to your hand with the same original type. And then you can discard a card, and if you do, special summon any monster from your hand with that same type in defense position. And then you're locked into summoning monsters with that original type for the rest of the turn. So obviously if you take a look at it, it's got Joker's Knight, it's got Arcana Triumph Joker. That's one way that you can use it. But you don't have to just target, you know, level 5 monsters, right? It's any level 5 or lower. So if you're using a deck that's based all around one type, like Machines, for instance, you can get any of their level 10 monsters. So Machines have a lot of level 10, you know, trains and that sort of thing as well. You could also use it, and I don't know that anybody's actually going to use it this way, but you could pull Spirit of Yubel out of your deck and then immediately special summon it as kind of you know, an offense type thing. So
yeah,
as long as
definitely.
you're level 5 or lower. So like, let's say your starter card gets negated when you summon it. Your beast is Effect Veilered, for instance. You could target it with this. You could get your level 10. You could special summon immediately. You could discard another card while you're at it to get it into the graveyard to use its effect.
And most of your cards are Fiend anyway, so it works just fine.
Exactly. Now, my favorite thing to do with it, and I spent a lot of time going through the card database.
I still remember you coming to me when you figured this out.
Yeah, I
too.
was looking at all the different level 10 monsters and seeing what kind of cool things you could do with it. Yeah, what's all level 10 is the Earthbound Immortals.
I've been waiting to use those.
I always like the Earthbound Immortals. So if there's an Earthbound Immortal that matches your deck's type, and you have a field spell, you can pull it out of your deck and summon it straight to the field. And where my mind went when I was looking at the Earthbound Immortals was to use this in the Goatee deck. So they have the most distant, deepest depths, the field spell, and they're all fish. So you can target one of your on-field Goatee, one of the level 5 or lower ones, and add Earthbound Immortal Chakuchalua.
You're alone on that one.
The whale.
The whale.
Chakuchalua.
There you go.
You can get it out of your deck and put it on the field in defense position. So while it's on the field in defense position, your opponent can't conduct their battle phase. Whereas the Goatee monsters, you can generally only synchro summon during the main phase. So if your opponent's locked out of their battle phase, they can't go to the phase where they can get around your other Goatee effects. And while that Earthbound Mortal is on the field, you can also burn your opponent for half of its defense points as well every turn. So it puts them on a clock as well, burning 1,200, 1,200, 1,200, 1,200, 1,200. It's really cool.
Yeah, I do think there's a lot you can do with it. As long as you can fit it into your deck and you're working with one type, you should definitely check out Double Wild.
Yeah, so maybe like go on the card database, click, just show me all the level 10 monsters. And just see what's out there, because there's a lot of really cool level 1 monsters out there. And now you have a way to kind of reliably get them out of your deck and onto the field.
Yep. That is an awesome card, and there are plenty of awesome cards in Supreme Darkness. We've only talked about a few of them here today. We're also going to have content creators that are going to be bringing you videos to further show you more awesome stuff that is waiting for you in Supreme Darkness, along with the premiere event. Don't want to forget, we're going to have at the end of the content creator, they're going to be opening booster boxes, so you can see even more cards and the awesome rarities that they come in. But don't miss out on the Supreme Darkness premiere event, January 17th to the 19th at your local official tournament store. We're going to thank you for watching. The set will be out on January 22nd at official tournament stores, available everywhere January 24th. And, it's always awesome to come here and really talk about how excited we are for these cards. We get to work with them, and to see them come out and see y'all's reaction to them means everything to us.
Please do something cool with Double Wild.
Jerome has been cooking with Double Wild for quite some time now, so I can't wait to see what you guys out there cook up with it as well. Thank you all. It's not going to be quite just over just yet. On the way out, we're going to show you the brand new world premiere theme. That's right, the Mitsurugi theme, a reptile-based ritual theme that you're going to want to check out what the cards do. So stay tuned, and we'll reveal that brand new set. For myself, Billy Brake, and Jerome, thanks for joining us. We'll see you next time. Don't forget, it's time to duel.